A lot of action after 6 o'clock.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
And more breaking news.
Woj bomb.
A Woj bomb.
Brody is going back to his hometown of L.A.
Kemba Walker is heading home.
They're on the come up. I'm good with that.
I mean, the Bulls are swinging hard here.
Chris Paul was the most important player.
This is the best signing. Oh, I love it.
All right, with some of the moves that have happened during the offseason, we're going to get into a couple of questions here, particularly this one. Which conference is now stronger, the East or the West? Tim, go.
I think it's the East. I think it's clearly the East now. You know, for a long time, the Western Conference has been the superior one, but you look at the way this is shaken out right now, I think that the Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets are the two best teams in the league by a fairly significant amount. I think you can argue that your Miami Heat, George, are as good or better than any of these top teams in the West. And I think when you look at the Eastern Conference from top to bottom, there are 12 teams that are legitimate playoff caliber teams. There's really only Orlando, Cleveland, and Detroit that you go into the season thinking these are not quality playoff level teams. So I think the East is deeper, and I think at the top it's stronger than the West, which is not something we've been able to say for a very long time.
George, I'm with Timmy B here completely because it has been about 15, 20 years at least where you thought the East is legitimately pretty good, but the key word to me is the depth. Because top to bottom, you're looking at these teams, and most of these teams think they have a legitimate chance not only to get into the postseason, but make noise once they get in and start rolling. So I love the Nets and the Bucks. I think the Heat are going to be really, really solid. And when you compare that to what's in the West right now, yes, you have some teams that have a chance to get into the finals and get rolling, but you don't feel the same way about the top of the West, at least I don't, that you do the top of the East and once you start getting in the 5, 6, 7, 8 range.
Well, I'm here in Vegas, and I've seen some boards, prediction boards, and you can bet on these what's potentially going to happen next season. There's a lot of Western teams near the top of those boards that I've seen here in Vegas, so I'm going to disagree. While I do agree that the East is way better than it's been in a long, long time, this is probably as strong an East as we've seen in easily 10 years, maybe longer than that. And look, Brooklyn is the team to beat for most people. I think the Lakers are the next betting favorite. But let's look at the West. I think Denver, when they're healthy, is a team that is as good as almost any team in the East outside of Brooklyn. Okay, I look at Utah. I think what they did last year, I think they can still build off being the number 1 seed. We saw the Phoenix Suns get to the NBA Finals. I'm curious to see if Luka and Porzingis can make something work. I still feel like the West not only has better teams at the top or teams that are more championship caliber, but I still feel like there's more depth there. Even teams like Minnesota, if they make one move, I still feel like they're better than the Orlandos of the world in the Eastern Conference or the Torontos of the world. Yeah, I couldn't disagree.
Yeah, I mean, Minnesota would be better than Orlando, who might be the worst team in the league. I mean, they would not be they would not make the playoffs in the East. They'll have it. The Minnesota Timberwolves will have an easier time making the playoffs in the Western Conference. They would not make the playoffs in the East, full stop. So. Okay,
but what I'm saying is that if we're going to separate it into a couple of tiers, like championship level, then playoff level, and then the rest,
yep.
I feel like the West is stronger in each of those particular categories. So, all right, let's move on, though. Let's talk about the East, since you're high on the East. The Bulls had a strong offseason, adding Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, and Alex Caruso. Nick, you covered that team. Do you think they increased their playoff chances?
I think they increased their chances only to a point, though. And, George, this is what stuns me, having covered Jerry and Michael Reinsdorf for years and years. That was an ownership group that did not want to go all in to potentially be a team that got bounced in the first or second round of the playoffs. Well, guess what they just did? They went completely all in on a team that at its highest ceiling maybe gets to the second round of the postseason. So I'm still surprised. I know Karnisovas and Eversley are trying to do their own thing in that front office, and I know fans are excited. But when I look at that team in comparison to the rest of the East, I just don't think they improve that much where you can start looking at them going, oh, okay, I see them having a legitimate chance to get up to the top of the Eastern Conference.
Look, my guy Nick has covered the Bulls for a long time, and he nailed it on the head. The Bulls have gone all in on 2 sub-all-star 30-year-old guys in Nick Vucevic and DeMar DeRozan to try to keep a guy in Zach LaVine who has never been on a winning team and now is going to be a free agent in the year and could leave. And I think there's a real chance the Bulls don't even make the play-in tournament. When you talk about this depth in the Eastern Conference, I think they could finish 11th or 12th very easily. They're going to have a terrible defense, and you look at the way this team is built, like, yes, those guys are durable, but I do not see them having any kind of high ceiling. And now they can't trade a draft pick until what, 2030, 2040? I mean, they've just put themselves in a box for what? For no high ceiling at all. Like Nick said, it's baffling after all the painstaking rebuild they went to not keep Jimmy Butler, who is, by the way, better than all of these guys they have. It's just really strange what the Bulls have set themselves up with here.
Yeah, I agree with you defensively. I don't know how they're going to be able to play defense on that team. I still think they can sneak into the playoffs, certainly in the play-in scenario, so I disagree on that just a little bit. All right, let's move on here. Coming up, what's the biggest takeaway from NBA Summer League so far? Oh, we'll get that for you as we wrap it up here. One more segment to go after the break on The Jump. All right, fellas, the Twitter streets were buzzing yesterday from a tweet that asked, and stop me if you've heard this one before, LeBron versus Jordan, one-on-one. Clint Yates, who you got? Prime LeBron or Prime Jordan?
Raymond James. Bigger, stronger, faster. End of discussion for me. You can talk about all these other things, but when you're dealing with one-on-one, that is what matters, not 5-on-5. Different discussion.
Yeah, I mean, this is easy. LeBron is like 50, 60 pounds heavier than Michael Jordan. He's a human freight train. Like, you know, Michael Jordan's an incredible player, but what is he going to do if LeBron drives at him? I mean, for as great a defensive player as he is, I don't know any way he can stop him. So, you know, it's not about one-on-one, who's the better player, any of that stuff. It's just if you're going up against a guy like Clinton said, he can go right through him and right to the rim. So it's kind of easy for me.
All right, I will make this a clean sweep, but you know if Michael Jordan catches wind of this, he's literally going to go somewhere and start shooting baskets and taking it out on other people. Or smoke a cigar while doing it.
I hope so.
That'll be out in the Twitter streets then.
Separate aside, all you people who tell me that LeBron James couldn't have played in the 90s when Jordan played, he could have punched somebody in the 90s, and that person would have never hit him again. How about that?
LeBron is the size of Karl Malone.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, he's Karl Malone playing point guard. I think he would have been just fine in the 90s.
Yeah, speaking of 90s, I saw Charles Oakley at my hotel today. I was just terrified just walking by.
Was he wearing linens?
I didn't want him to. Yeah,
Charles Oakley still looks like he can play.
He's a linen suit god.
Charles Oakley still looks like he can play today. He's in the greatest shape. It's unbelievable.
Some people
Still
call
in
him
great
a
shape,
snack.
for sure.
Twitter streets, speaking of.
Trey Jones, check this out, finishes a tough layup here to beat the Hornets. So, Clinton, how do you like Trey Jones' hang time on this?
The hang and the hit, as we like to say in the broadcast community. I love that. That was a good play. I mean, he keeps it down there, and to go off window here, very resourceful shot.
Oh, and Kai Jones, a big, long, athletic guy, drafted 19th overall by the Hornets. I mean, that's an impressive finish by Trey Jones over him to get that win for the Spurs.
Yeah, the hoop and the harm, as they like to say as well. All right, next, Miss Buzzers. With 0.6 seconds left, LiAngelo Ball hoisted this shot to beat the buzzer before the half. Tim, has LiAngelo done enough to secure a spot on an NBA roster?
I mean, secure a spot on an NBA roster, no. I'd be pretty surprised if he's not in training camp with the Hornets after the way things have gone in Charlotte with Summer League. I mean, obviously his brother is there too, but, you know, we'll see if he gets into the G League. But given where LiAngelo Ball was coming into Summer League, the fact he's played like this, he was working out with the Hornets beforehand, got himself on the roster, did some stuff. Pretty impressive setup for him.
Forget about all this real analysis. Get this guy in the league so we can have all three Ball brothers playing. What are we talking about here? This would be the best marketing thing the NBA has seen in a long time. The family business, coming from nothing to something. I would love this. I don't care what team he plays for. Ted Leonsis, sign him up.
I will say this. He's hit a lot of threes here at Summer League, and LeVar's been out here as well. So, all right, next. Make sudden death. In sudden death, Cam Thomas loses the ball, but beats the shot clock buzzer with this one-legged three-pointer to win it for Brooklyn. Clinton, how ridiculous was that shot?
Extremely, but what was more ridiculous was the move he was trying to put on him beforehand. This is like the epitome of a Summer League play. Cross up, near turnover, heave. Oh, yeah, buddy, I got you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I was at this game for this play, and I was dying at his reaction afterward because he almost turns the ball over 3 times. He flings this ball up with the shot clock, and then he acts like he knew what he was doing the whole time. It's like, Cam Thomas, you flung this ball up in the air. It fell in. It was a total accident. Like, you know, I mean, come on. Look at the celebration. It's like, oh, yeah, I got it. Like, I was dying watching that from the stands. That was amazing.
All right, sticking to Summer League and this theme, it's time to run it back. The best dunks of Summer League so far. At number 3, we got Jericho Sims here with this alley-oop. Hello.
A little smooth jazz, by the way, on the background. You got to make a business decision there. He almost broke his hand on top of getting completely banged on and getting kicked to the ground. That's tough.
All right, let's go to number 2 here. Jalen Suggs with the monster putback.
I would love
Tim,
to
what do you
see
think?
a return of the putback dunk. Sorry.
Putback. I'd love the putback dunk. And this, I was there for this one too. That was a monster one. That was another one. Everybody went, whoa. I mean, Jalen Suggs had a monster week. That was a heck of a dunk from him.
And number one, Kai Jones with the poster there.
Well,
This is
listen,
one of those-
Lord.
have we figured out a word for those kinds of dunks yet? Where you sort of don't really get rim, but the ball goes in at an extension point that is.
probably should call it the Blake Griffin, but
Yeah.
look, Kai Jones and LaMelo Ball in Charlotte is going to be unbelievable. This kid is a track star. He jumps out of the gym, running up and down the court with LaMelo Ball throwing him 50-foot alley-oops. Like, that was the perfect place for him to land. I am so excited to see him on the court with the Hornets running up and down. That's going to be really, really fun to see.
I love the Hornets.
Yeah,
League pass
for
beasts.
sure. Yeah, they are absolutely a league pass gem. There's no doubt about that. Hey, we got a special treat for you here. Make sure you check out what we've got coming up here in this particular segment with our friend Mark Spears. He's got